Good evening, and welcome to Nox Historia. Tonight, we travel to old Japan. Wherever you are, and however your day has been, you can set it all down now. There is nothing left to do tonight. Nothing to fix, nothing to finish. Just let yourself grow heavy. Let your breathing slow. And come with me, gently, in no hurry at all, to the great city of Edo, the city we now call Tokyo, on a soft evening some 300 years ago. We are traveling to the time of the samurai and the shogun, the long, peaceful age the Japanese call the Edo period. But we are not going to find battles, for there were almost none. This was an age of peace that lasted more than 250 years. Indeed, here is something that may surprise you as you settle into your pillow. In all this long peace, most of the samurai never fought at all. They had become officials and clerks and keepers of records, many of them really quite poor, proud old warriors with little left to do but their paperwork. No, we are not going to find warriors tonight. We are going to find an ordinary city, full of ordinary people, settling down, as people always have, to sleep. You do not need to remember any of this. You do not need to follow closely or picture every detail. Just let the words drift past you, like the soft light of a paper lantern moving away down a dark street. And if, somewhere along the way, you happen to fall asleep, good. That is exactly what this is for. It is the end of the day in Edo. The sun is going down behind the low wooden rooftops, and the whole city, a city built almost entirely of wood and paper, glows for a moment, gold and amber, in the last of the light. From a temple somewhere across the rooftops comes the deep, round voice of a great bronze bell, struck once, slow and low. The sunset bell, the Irii no Kane, that has marked the close of the day here for longer than anyone can remember. The note hangs in the cooling air and slowly fades, and the long blue dusk comes down over the city. This in-between time, the soft hour of dusk, had a name of its own here and a gentle meaning. They called it Omagatoki, which means, more or less, the hour of meeting spirits. For in the half-light, when faces blur and shapes grow strange, it was felt that the boundary between this world and the next grew thin. It was not a thing to truly fear. It was simply the signal that the day was over, the hour when mothers called their children in from the lanes, and families gathered inside, and the lamps were lit against the coming dark. Come in now, the day is done. Gather in where it is warm. If your eyes have already begun to close, let them. You can stop listening whenever you like. I will keep walking, slowly, through these darkening streets, and you can come with me as far as you wish to go. Listen. There it is again, but a different bell now, closer, ringing out the hour over the rooftops. This is the Toki no Kane, the bell of time. For in this whole vast city, there were almost no clocks. Clocks were rare and costly things. Instead, the people lived by these great time bells, which rang from tall wooden towers and were passed, bell to bell, right across the city, so that wherever you stood, you were never far from one. And they counted the hours in a way that sounds strange to us. The Japanese of this age divided the day into hours that changed their length with the seasons, long and lazy on a summer's day, short on a winter's. And they named them not with numbers, but for the animals of the zodiac. The hour of the rat, deep at midnight. The hour of the horse, at noon. The hour of the rooster, as the sun went down. And the bell did not ring 1, 2, 3, up to 12. It counted downward and never below 4. So the dusk we are standing in now was the hour they called Kuramutsu, dusk 6, when the shops put up their shutters and the neighborhood gates were closed for the night. You can hear, even now, those wooden gates being drawn shut along the streets. For Edo was a city of neighborhoods, each one a little world of its own, and at each end of a neighborhood stood a wooden gate, a kido, with a gatekeeper to mind it. As the night came on, the gates were closed, and the city settled into 1,000 small, safe enclosures, each one quietly minding its own. Let us walk a little while the last light goes down a narrow street of wooden houses. These are the machiya, the townhouses of the merchants and craftsmen, a shop in the front and the family's rooms behind, on plots so long and narrow they were fondly called eel's beds. And behind them, down the inner alleys, where most of the city's ordinary people lived, stand the nagaya, the long row houses, a whole row of little homes under one long roof, each family in a single small room, sharing a well and a courtyard between them all. It is a crowded, humble, friendly sort of place, the back alley of Edo. And it is settling now, room by room, into the evening. There is no hurry. We have all night. See how the street is lit, or rather, how it is barely lit at all. For there were no street lamps in Edo, none at all. A city of perhaps 1 million souls, and at night, almost entirely dark. The only lights are the ones people carry, the chochin, the round paper lantern, folding flat like an accordion when not in use, opening out around a single candle within, its paper sides painted with the crest of a family or the name of a shop. Here and there one bobs along through the dark, a little moon of warm light, carried by someone walking home, throwing a soft glow on the wooden walls as it passes. And then it turns a corner and is gone, and the street is dark again. Within the houses, the light is just as soft and just as dim. The homes of Edo were lit by the andon, a little lamp of paper stretched over a wooden frame, with a small dish of oil inside and a wick of rush floating in it, giving off a low, warm, golden glow, gentle as a held breath. The oil itself told you much about a household. The well-to-do burned clean-pressed rapeseed oil. The poor burned cheaper oil pressed from sardines, which cost about half as much, but which smoked and smelled faintly of fish and drew the neighborhood cats. By such a soft and smoky little light, the families of Edo passed their evenings and made ready for their rest. But first, for very many of them, there is the bath. Come, let us follow that lane to where a faint curtain of steam rises into the cool night air and a soft yellow light spills from a low doorway. This is the sento, the public bathhouse, and it was the warm heart of every neighborhood in Edo. For in a city built of wood and paper, a private bath was a rare and dangerous thing. Too much fire risk, too much fuel. And so almost everyone, rich and poor alike, came here at the day's end to bathe together. There were said to be more than 500 bathhouses in the city. Inside, beyond a low doorway built to keep the precious heat in, the air is thick and warm and wet, dim with steam, and filled with the soft sounds of water and the low murmur of neighbors, easing the long day from their bones. To sink into that deep, hot water after a day's work in the gathering dark, there are few older or simpler comforts in all the world. And you may know that particular heaviness yourself, the warm, loose, sleepy heaviness of the body after a hot bath, when all you wish for is your bed. Out in the street again, the night has truly come. From somewhere in the dark drifts the gentle, wandering sound of a small bell, a wind chime hung from the pole of a night soba seller who carries his whole little kitchen on his shoulders through the dark streets, calling softly, selling warm bowls of buckwheat noodles to those still abroad in the night. The smell of his broth drifts on the cool air. Nearby, perhaps, a stall sells the new fashion of the city. Small pressed parcels of vinegared rice topped with a sliver of fresh fish from the bay. A quick and cheap bite eaten standing up that the people of Edo simply called sushi. We think of it now as something fine. To them, it was the fastest of fast food, sold from a stall on a dark street corner, the pieces 2 or 3 times the size of the ones we know. Let us step now through a sliding wooden door into one of the small homes where a family is making ready for sleep. Off come the shoes at the earthen entrance, for no one walks indoors with the dust of the street. The room beyond is simple and clean and almost bare in the way of this country. A floor of woven straw mats, the tatami, soft and faintly sweet-smelling underfoot. Walls that are not walls at all, but sliding screens of paper and wood, the shoji, which glow softly when a lamp is lit behind them. There is very little furniture, for it is not wanted. The single low room is the whole of the home, the place where they eat by day and where, by night, they sleep. In the soft light of the lamp before bed, perhaps one of them is reading. For this was a city of readers, far more so than most people imagine of such a faraway age. A great many of the common folk of Edo could read and write, taught as children in little temple schools. And though a book was a costly thing to own, you did not need to own one. Walking lending libraries went from door to door, a great bundle of books on the lender's back, leaving a borrowed story here, collecting one there. Hundreds of them, carrying tales and poems and pictures through the lanes of the city. And so, by the glow of the little oil lamp, a tired shopkeeper turns the pages of a borrowed book in the last quiet minutes of the day, exactly as you might turn to a story now at the end of yours. And see how they make their beds. There are no bedsteads here, no great wooden frames. Instead, from a cupboard, they take out the futon, thick padded quilts, and lay them down, there, upon the soft tatami floor, smoothing them out in the lamplight. By day, these were folded away and put out of sight, so that the same small room could serve for everything. Only at night did it become a bedroom. And for a pillow, here is a curious thing. Many used not something soft, but a small, hard pillow, sometimes little more than a wooden stand, which cradled the neck and held the head up off the floor. It kept one cool through a warm night, and, for those with the elaborate oiled hairstyles of the age, which took long hours to arrange and were kept for many days, it held the hair up off the bedding, undisturbed, until morning. If you are still with me, there is no need to hold on tightly. The night will carry both of us from here. For this was a city, you must understand, that went early to its bed. With light so dim and so dear, and the work of the day beginning at dawn, there was little reason to sit up late. The people of Edo slept soon after dark, and rose with the first light. And so, as the evening deepens, the lamps are going out, one by one, behind the glowing paper screens, all across the city, like stars going out in reverse. But not everyone may sleep. For over the dark and silent city, in tall wooden towers that rise above the rooftops, a few men keep watch through the whole of the night, and what they watch for is fire. For fire was the great terror of Edo, the one shadow over all its wooden streets. The fires came so often and spread so fast through the close-packed wood and paper that the people gave them a grim and beautiful nickname. They called the great fires the Flowers of Edo. From his high tower, the lookout watches the dark sea of rooftops for the first orange bloom of a flame, his hand near the alarm bell, ready to wake the whole quarter in an instant. It is a heavy watch to keep, but because he keeps it, the city below him may safely sleep. And should a flower of fire ever bloom in the night, the men who came running would not fight it as we would, with water. There was never water enough for that. Instead, the firemen of Edo, nimble steeplejacks, used to high places, would pull down the houses all around the blaze, clearing a bare gap that the flames could not leap, and so starved the fire of the wood it fed on. The townsfolk had banded into nearly 50 fire brigades, each named for a single letter, each with its own tall carved standard that a brave man would carry up onto a rooftop at the very edge of the fire, and hold there, in the heat and the smoke, to mark how far his brigade would let the flames come, and no further. But tonight there is no fire. Tonight there is only the watching, and the dark, and the quiet. And through the streets themselves, another keeps the watch. Listen, there, in the quiet. A sharp, clear wooden sound, 2 blocks of hardwood struck smartly together. Ka-chin, ka-chin. It is the night watchman, walking his slow round through the dark lanes, striking his wooden clappers, and calling out, soft and steady, the same words that have echoed through these streets on every cold, dry night for 100 years and more. Hi no yojin. Beware of fire. Take care of your flames. Cover your coals, and sleep safe. The sound moves slowly away down the lane. Ka-chin, ka-chin, growing fainter until it is lost in the dark and the street is silent again. Step out now into a small inner courtyard and look up. For though the streets of Edo are dark, the sky above them is not. There hangs the moon, and the moon was loved in this country. Loved and watched and celebrated as in few places on earth. On the most beautiful full moon nights of the autumn, families would set out little tables facing the moon, with offerings of round white dumplings and tall silver plumes of pampas grass, and simply sit and look and let the quiet beauty of it fill them. And when they looked up at the shadows on the moon's bright face, they did not see a man there, as we sometimes say we do. They saw a rabbit, a moon rabbit, standing on its hind legs, pounding rice into sweet cakes with a wooden mallet, there in the silver light. Look up at the moon yourself tonight, and you may just see him too. How strange and how wonderful a place this was, this sleeping city. For Edo, in these years, was almost certainly the largest city in all the world, greater than London, greater than Paris, the first city on earth, some say, to hold 1 million souls. And yet it ran so cleanly and so well. Fresh water ran to its wells through miles of buried wooden pipes, brought from rivers far away by one of the finest waterworks of the age. Almost nothing in it was wasted. Everything worn out was mended. Everything used was used again, in a great quiet circle of thrift that fed the city and the farms around it together. 1 million people in a city of wood and paper, lit by little lamps, kept by bells and watchmen, and tonight nearly all of them asleep. The hours turn, marked by the far-off bells. The lookout watches from his tower. The watchman's clappers sound once more somewhere across the city and fall silent. The paper screens have gone dark. The lanterns are all hung up and snuffed. And the moon rabbit pounds his rice in the silver light over 1 million sleeping souls in the greatest city in the world. 300 years and more have passed since this night, the one we have been walking through together. The little wooden houses are long gone, burned or rebuilt, or swept away as the city grew into the vast modern one we know. The names of the soba seller and the bathhouse keeper and the family asleep on their tatami floor were never written down and are lost. And yet so much of that gentle evening world is still with us, even now, carried quietly down the years. The bath at the day's end, the bowl of warm noodles, the little parcels of rice and fish eaten the world over now that began on a dark Edo street corner. The folding away of the bed each morning, even the moon rabbit still pounding his rice on the autumn moon. And the night still comes to that city beneath all its modern lights, just as gently as it came then. The people of Edo are deep asleep now. The watchman, his round nearly done. The lookout in his tower, watching the quiet dark. The family on their tatami floor, beneath their padded quilts, in the last warm glow of the banked-down lamp. They do not know that we came to visit. They are only sleeping, as the whole world sleeps, as you, perhaps, are sleeping now. So let go of the last of it, whatever you are still holding. The gates are shut, the watch is kept. The great bells are counting down the quiet hours, and the moon is bright over the rooftops. There is nothing left to do, and there never was. Only to let the soft dark gather you in, gently, the way it gathered a sleeping city of 1,000,000 souls 300 years ago, and carry you on toward the morning. Sleep well, and when you are ready to travel again, Nox Historia will be waiting. Good night.